What's going on? It's Andy here. So I'm going to give my non-spoiler review for Superman 2025. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. Dare I say that I like this film? Yes. This film actually has a lot working for it that I was not expecting. There are several surprises that were not spoiled by the trailers. I would say that the main thing I liked more than anything else that definitely ushers in a new DC universe is the world building. The world building is big on all fronts, pretty much. I think that the acting also is incredible. But I took some notes in that dark theater to kind of jot down for my non-spoiler review here. But I definitely would say that the idea of like the world, without giving too much away, the world of like metahumans and stuff like that is very interesting. How they were able to world build. Or they were able to world build based off of just the DC database that they have. That's one thing I would say definitely sets them apart from Marvel, is that there are no rights issues. Every character is DC. They don't have to worry about rights issues like with the Hulk and all that stuff and Spider-Man. But neither here nor there, but one of the most positive things I got from that is the world building. And I know that James Gunn came out recently with some comments that was just like saying things like, we don't need another origin story, we don't need another how did they become superheroes and stuff like that. And I think this serves perfectly for this kind of movie. Moving on, I definitely love the supporting cast. The supporting cast was great. Even Henry Cornswet was great. I think that he definitely embodied the essence of Superman. He embodied the hope that Superman gives in the lessons that Superman gives. It was very much hearkening into the animated series of Superman, like that animated series that came out right before Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. So it very much to kind of harken to what that article said when they were like, it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. I think as far as like the embodiment of the characters feeling like Saturday morning cartoon characters definitely does or definitely is facts, but it doesn't hinder the movie in any kind of way. But Henry Cornswet did great in the supporting cast. And the supporting cast did great as well. Rachel Brosnahan did really great as Lois Lane. I feel like she is one of the best film versions of Lois Lane. I know that there are different iterations of Lois, but I feel like she's probably one of the best film versions of Lois Lane. Going on to Lex Luthor, who also Nicholas Hault gives an amazing performance as Lex Luthor. He definitely embodies how Lex Luthor is in the comics, as far as like the obsessiveness over Superman due to not feeling, or feeling actually, due to feeling inadequate. Again, to not like spoil anything, but the action is pretty good as well. One thing I will say to kind of play the devil's advocate as far as like the action, I felt like the action was kind of all over the place. I feel like at least the action sequences were all over the place. There were multiple story beats in the movie that kind of added to the overall story, but I felt like the action was great. But one thing I want to say about the characters as well is that I feel like James Gunn really understands the characters. He really understands their quirks, their history, who they are, their personality. I think that is perfect for this new DC era. I would say that it was a little overpopulated with characters. Like the film had a lot of characters, but it wasn't over. It wasn't like over like. I'm trying to think of the right word for it. I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Like I can't think of a word right now, but it wasn't overdone. I'll just say it wasn't overdone. Like you get a character's introduction, you kind of get how they work. Like with Guy Gardner, like you get how it works with his oaths and stuff like that, and you kind of get an idea of like how these characters are as far as like their history without going too in depth. Like the movie's not really about them, they're just a feature. And kind of like looking at like some of the comics in like the 80s and 90s, which I think is a lot of the inspiration for James Gunn's like tone for the film, because it gives me very much 80s 90s Justice League, DC Comics, like just the team that was built up, with the Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific. Like they're not A-list, superheroes. They're kind of like, I would go as far as saying B-list. Now Hawk Girl, I would say, I don't want to say Hawk Tuah Girl, but Hawk Girl. Hawk Girl is more A-list based off of her appearance in like Justice League Unlimited, so more people understand and know that character if you grew up watching that cartoon. But ultimately the Justice Gang, even like the other supporting cast, like Perry White and Jimmy Olsen, even Cat Grant, like these characters definitely were embodied. If they weren't on screen, they definitely looked the part of their character. So it was actually kind of interesting to see. Now, earlier in the week, I believe James Gunn had said something in lines about the political aspect of it, that Superman is political. I'm here to tell you, being someone who like follows politics, just because it is something that I think everyone should follow, no matter what side you're on, just making sure you're staying up to date with what's going on in the world. I don't really think that the film had a political message per se. Like I don't think that the film had anything that was too political that you didn't really see in other superhero films. Like I feel like it was very subtle. I feel like you get more political messages in like Marvel movies, such as like Captain America, than you do in this actual Superman film. Like there's subtle, like I don't think it's like real world like politics as far as like what's going on nowadays. I think that it had a lot more to do with the actions of being a superhero in a real world, when it comes to like jurisdiction and I guess it's not really much of a spoiler because they released a clip between him and Lois, but Superman acting on behalf of himself, ultimately going to another country, ending a war. Like you can't do that you can't do that at all, pretty much, because there are different rules and regulations and stuff. So this film does touch on it, but they don't go into depth about the actual, like they don't go into depth or make it like a jab at what's going on in today's society, other than things that already were associated with Superman before everything in reality or in the real world happens, if that makes sense. Like him being an alien from another planet, thus making him, an immigrant, which, Superman is ultimately. But that is as far as they go with politics. It shouldn't be anything that kind of makes anyone upset. So if that was something that was turning you off from the film, I would say it didn't really, make you upset. It shouldn't make you upset. It's just one of those things where they just kind of touch on it without getting too in depth on, the politics and stuff of it, like of reality, if that makes sense. So I would say it has politics, but it's very fiction-based politics in the basis of Superman's operations, like him operating in certain ways, pretty much. Would I say go and see Superman 2025? I would definitely say go see it. It's a good movie. It literally kept my attention. It wasn't boring. The action was good. The story, although like kind of like segments, it still felt like a good movie. It felt like a very cohesive story through and through. The characters were great. The humor, a little bit, James Gunn humor, where it was just like, it just was a little bit too much, but the humor kind of fit the tone of what they were trying to do with the characters, so I can understand what they were doing with the tone. But I would say definitely go and see it. I would give the film an 8 out of 10. I want to see more DC properties before I commit to like collecting DC comic collectibles. There was a in art Man of Steel 1/6 scale figure that I was actually kind of interested in, but I want to see more properties first before I commit to collecting them. I already like Peacemaker. Peacemaker is an amazing show. I would definitely recommend that. The Suicide Squad was a great show, great movie. The movie, I think, was Gunn's introduction into the DCU, so it was pretty good. And then I have yet to see Creature Commandos, but so far it looks like the DC universe is really building itself up. So I would definitely say go and see Superman. But yeah, again, if you don't mind, just leave a comment below to consider subscribing. Even if you have to leave a comment where you're like, you're wrong, the movie was terrible, at least it's engagement. I love engaging with people that actually watch my content. It's very helpful for me. And yeah, let me know what you all think in the comments below. Are you planning to see Superman? Or are you planning on just waiting until it hits HBO Max and then giving it a try then? But I've been Andy. Take care.